Okay, just following up with my theory that the internet doesn't come from here. I just want to start. The etherical plane is where the spirits live, I guess, as you'd put it. Or incarnate entities, or be that as it may, whatever. It's a place where, where spirits would inhabit that can't get back into the third dimension. So just the word etheric. How do we tie that? How do we tie that to the computer? And so I did a little bit more investigating, and it came to me really pretty easy. Hang on, I'll show it to you. This is the Ethernet. So you have the etherical plane and the Ethernet. Now, to get into the etherical plane, to communicate with spirits, you need a channeler. To get onto the internet, you need an Ethernet connector. And to get onto YouTube, you have to have a channel. And it's interesting, E-L, that word, E-L, is the designation for the entity of Saturn, L. And it's interesting that all communications seem to have that in it. Telephone, cell phone, telegraph. Even the biggest mass communicative center in the world, Echelon, which can monitor every single phone call, data, text, whatever, in 1 second, it's Echelon. There's the word L again. So it's my assumption that, once again, this is emanating from a place called DAATH, D-A-A-T-H, that is a sphere that's outside the planet Saturn. And as you know, if you watch my video, that all the browsers' names, the big ones, go back to the planet Saturn. I'm just trying to tie up some loose ends here. It's only theory, and I'm probably way off, but it's interesting nonetheless. This is interesting. The word Ethernet comes from the Greek aether, which means to burn or shine. Well, Saturn is associated with Satan, and biblically it says, do not be surprised that Satan would show himself as an angel of light. So there's a connection that can be made there. I'm not so sure that Saturn and Satan are the same, one and the same, because, that's conjecture, but, I'm just trying to show you similarities. Once again, like I said, I'm probably wrong, but, it's fun investigating. Here we see here, this is the North Pole Saturn. I'm just recapping this for some of the people that have followed my videos. As if we look, you see a hexagon. This is the North Pole. You'll see two colors, red and blue, which I'll explain that in a minute. But you see a hexagon. A hexagon, which is what you see on the Jewish national flag. It is not a hexagon. That is a two-dimensional version of a three-dimensional cube, which incidentally your pyramids are cubes, because when you look at them from the top, they become an X box. But they all refer back to the planet Saturn and the time cube. This thing on the top is what regulates time and space in the third dimension. That's why it's in so many logos around the world, because there are those people that are in the know, and they have a lot of power and a lot of money, and they know this. They know this. This is what's going on with the world. This is why birds and fish and frogs are all dying, because it's all part of the time cube. So to outline it so that you can see it, that's called spatial vision, where you can look at a two-dimensional and turn it into a three. But I'll go ahead and outline it so you can see it. So here you can clearly see that it turns into a hexagon, turns into a cube. You'll find the same cube if you go look at Walmart. Look on the inside of their logo. There's a hexagon. This is the represents the planet Saturn, but incidentally, it really is on the top of the planet Saturn. Okay, as you'll notice, there's two colors, red and blue. Red and blue have two different meanings, at least from my studies, what I understand. We're just going to stick with one right now at this point. It represents time. You see the circle, the blue circle around the cube? Well, that's the circle represents time, the cube represents space. That's why it's called a time cube. But these two colors are time. They're two waves. One is a sine wave, the other one is a cosine wave. They're what keeps us locked in here. They're also is what creates the seal of Saturn. And I'll do that in another video. But just so you can see the two colors, these are taken from NASA, by the way. Here we see on the overlay that we have a circle with a blue lizard on the inside. Okay? With a cube in the middle. Those two colors designate time. Incidentally, they're the same two colors that were on the North Pole of Saturn. Okay? These strange cloud formations you see that are rings, like if you go Google the mysterious cloud over Russia that looked like a big ring, that's because that's the South Pole of Saturn emanating huge amounts of energy, like an aurora borealis. And what it's doing is it's flooding the Earth, because as above, so below. It's flooding the Earth with that magnetic energy or whatever it is. And so it's creating the exact same design. As above, so below. This is nothing new, man. This has been going on for thousands and thousands of years. Man has come and gone. This is not the first time we've been here. This is a cube. You notice it's four colors again. Red, yellow, blue, green. It's an ongoing thing. Some people that are in, Wiccan or whatever, they'll tell you, well, those are the four colors of the seasons. I'm not going to say they're wrong, because in their way of thinking, they're correct. But these colors go all the way back to Egypt, to the pyramids, and they represent not only the seasons, but they represent the build-up of civilizations and the fall of civilizations. And what's happening right now is we are declining as a civilization. We are falling apart. We are in the red zone right now. And after we go from the red zone, you go green. That's why they're telling you to go green. Play on words there on their part. This is what do you call a Star of David? Well, that's not quite true, because David didn't have a star. Jesus did. This is called the Seal of Solomon. And the Seal of Solomon goes back to the Seal of Saturn. But as you notice, this is where that cube originates from, see? So it's interesting that they have that on their flag and you got that on the North Pole. And multiple businesses use this same design over and over again. Okay, and I mean real big ones. So once again, take a close look. Red, yellow, blue, green. You do have some colors on the outside. And each one of those other colors is one of the bands of the colors from the planet Saturn. Each one of those colors has its own meaning, but we're just sticking with the two right now. Here we go. This is the Google Cube. Interesting. Same four colors, red, yellow, blue, green. These four colors from the time cube, which I believe that Saturn is what controls the matrix. We get the same colors, red, yellow, blue, green. And it's interesting that Google, which is owned by Viacom, by the way, I have another video that I can link to it. Google is owned by Viacom. And it appears that the cube that you're looking at from Google is actually a hexagon, isn't it? So we can go back the other way with it. It's a hexagon, or it's a cube. But they both go back to the same thing. They both go back to the pyramids. Contrary to popular belief, the Jews got their stuff from Egypt. Okay? When they were there, as whatever they were, working or in slavery, or whatever story it is that they choose for this week, they adopted their practices. And as they say, when in Rome, do as the Romans do. So, the Jews have two primary deities. One is the worship of the planet Saturn, where you get Saturday, and the other one is the moon. Okay, I'm not going to get into all of that. This is not about the Jews. This is about where this thing comes from, but it's most associated with the Hebrew people, even though it comes from the pyramids, which is Egyptian. If we look here, look on the back of a standard computer, we have an Ethernet connector. We have four colors, red, yellow, blue, green. Okay, the one is slightly orange, but it represents yellow. I mean, come on, you got to give that to me. Anyway, it's red, yellow, blue, green. There's four of them. Each one of them has a different function. the red and blue and the green. You know, this is kind of how your world is made up. Mine too. I mean, I'm in the same dimension that you are, but these are what makes up the reality that you live in. So you've got red, yellow, blue, green again. Okay, the same code. You'll see this over and over and over and over again. It's just interesting, you know. Etherical plane, Ethernet connector. You know, isn't it interesting that I told you about the word El is the name of the deity, Saturn, which is Satan, and then you have the word Hel, El again. See, it's in there. It's constantly El. That's why you have temp Els, T-E-M-P, Tempest. You know, El, the god of time. So now you have the Time Lord. You have Disciple Els, Mike El, Gabriel, Uriel. It's all got to do with time and space. This again is, you know, if you're looking at the top of a pyramid, this is a time cube. It's in direct correlation with the planet Saturn. That's what these pyramids were for. They're time cubes, and I'm sure that there was something long time ago lost over the centuries, and only a few have it at the top. You know, that it can manipulate time and space, like the other video I did with 9/11. Why is that pyramid on that barge sitting right next to some other stuff? So this also represents the stages of mankind. Start out as an infant, you know, which is the beginning of mankind. You go around until the grandparent, where you're in the critical stage, where all of morality and everything's falling apart. Which, incidentally, I think we're almost there. And then you go green. So you can see it's circular, just like Saturn, the rings. All this goes back to the worship of Saturn. It's the black sun, the dark star, whatever you want to call it. The whole world worships it, whether they know it or not. It's even down to the stitching in your clothing. This is from a sports show where they talk about, you know, sports and stuff, but it's called Around the Horn. Interestingly enough, it is exactly the same pattern that the time cube is. And incidentally, these guys know what they're talking about. I don't need to tell you who these men are, but they know what this is. That's why the word horn. Horn, what does it do? A horn makes sound. Interesting. Notice the circle. The circle represents and creates the planet Saturn. How interesting. But be that as it may, this isn't about secret societies. This is about trying to show you at least what I've found. Once again, I am not biased. I do not support or represent any group. Good, bad, evil, indifferent. All I am is just a dude that's a researcher. That's it. You know, I'm not here to cast aspersions on any people, to bolster one group, to put down another. The world's got plenty of people to do that. Just go look at some of the other guys that are making videos on here. We won't have a problem with that, will we? Anyway, that's it for today. I'll have some more stuff for you maybe later today or tomorrow. Thanks. Have a nice day.